My dear studio, welcome back to the second project. So in this project, we're going to build this weather app that enables user to search for to know the weather condition in a city. So if I want to know the weather condition in Stockholm, so which is this, and we can as well validate it with Google. S- Let's copy this weather and see. So we are having 41 degree Fahrenheit. So which is this 41 and 5 degrees centigrade. 5 degrees centigrade. So if I want to search for in Boston, United States, we're having this report as well. Alright, so enough for the introduction. So why not implement a web application? So to do that, I'll create a folder on my desktop, which I'm going to rename to be weather app. And we're going to work with Materialize CSS this time. Get started, and we download their template. So save. So extract this. Alright, so I can delete this now. Move to trash. Okay, perfect. So now I want to launch my VS Code in open folder. So I'm going to open my weather app. You know, so I'm using a live server, so I'm going to go live. So I'll close this. Perfect. So our website is up and running. Alright, so what we're going to do next, we need to implement the nav. We already have nav over here, and I think we need to get rid of all this starter template and this button as well as this three column right in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code, which is this HTML code, and paste it here. So in my index.html, highlight, delete, then paste. So now if we reload, we are having these, right? But the image, so for the image, we're going to create a img folder, yeah, img folder, and in our JS, we're going to create two files, app.js or three, and we also need UI.js, and last but not the least, app API.js. So this is it. So for the picture, I'll fetch out the picture, which is so for the picture, I'll paste it in this folder, img folder. Alright, so we have this. So when we reload, this is what we see on our website homepage. So we are ready. So let me explain the HTML code of what just happened here. So for the nav, we have our weather app, and we also have our input box right in here with a search icon. So this is for the nav, and this is for our input feed. And in this, I want you to pay attention here. In our input feed, we have a class, a custom class of search city. Okay, and yes, for this we also have a dev with an ID of display, and we have an image, which is this background image you're seeing here. So that is it about the code. And last but not the least, I'm referencing to the UI, the app, the API, and the app.js. Please pay attention. You should follow this order. It is very, very mandatory that you follow this order. So now I can save. All right. So the next step is when a user start typing like London, we want to get this test. So to do that, we'll go to our app.js. So in our app.js, I want to create a comment. So this will be search city. So I'll create a constant variable type of search city, which should be equal to document dot query selector. You remember we have a custom class of search city in our input form, which is this. So we want to target this input form. This input form is what we are targeting. Alright, so next is we're going to add event listener. So we'll take this variable dot add event listener. So what are we going to listen for, which is key up. Immediately the user start typing. So we're going to use arrow function here, pass a parameter here, which will be event arrow. Then so the next is to get input, which is user input. So we'll create a constant type of variable of user test, which will be equal to the event dot target dot value. So for console dot log this, for console dot log the user test. So if I should start typing, I'm logging it. Mamo Texas. So we are getting our user input now. So what are we going to do after getting our user input? The next thing we want to do is to make a request to open, because we'll be working with open API. So I want you to go to openweather API, openweathermap.org, and just register, sign up. I already did, so I just want to sign in and click on my API. So this is my API key, which I'll copy. Alright, this is all you need from OpenWeather, because this is we're going to work with our API. Alright, so to do that, remember, let's save this first. In our JS, app.js, in our API.js, not app.js, in our API.js, we're going to create a class of open weather. So in this class, we're going to work with constructor. So we say this dot API key is equal to this. Alright, so whenever an instance of this class is called, this constructor will run immediately. Alright, so with that being done, so we want to make a request, because when we receive whatever we receive here, Tokyo, we want to take that value and pass it to our API that give us the weather condition for Tokyo. Exactly the same thing is happening here in Google. If you go to google.com and we type in Mamo weather, so what is happening? Google, they take this input and ask their API, give us the weather condition for Mamo. So that is exactly the same thing we want to do. We want to take this Tokyo and ask Open Weather API, give us, where is it, Open Weather API, give us the weather condition for Tokyo or in Tokyo. Alright, so this is what we're going to do here. Before we do that, we want to init our class, our Open Weather class. So we say init, so constant of get weather, which equal to new open weather. So now we are, this get weather is not an instance of this open weather class, and as a result of that, when this instance of open weather is called, is used in anywhere in our app.js, what happen, this will run, this .api key will run immediately, because this pertaining to this class right here. So I believe the explanation, I explained it very well to you. Alright, so we want to make a request to Open Weather API. So we're going to say, we're going to use get weather, we're calling the instance, which immediately this will run, this .api key will run immediately. Get weather .search, we'll call a method, a search, then we'll pass in the user test. Alright, so let's create that method here, which is search. That will receive it should be the city name. So let's console.log and see. Console log city name here, just to see if maybe we're receiving our search term here. So in this, we'll start typing. Alright, perfect. We are receiving our input here. Alright, so we're going to work with async function. Async function. So we'll create a method, a function of async of search. So in here, which we are receiving our input, so Mamo, which is Mamo now, we're receiving Mamo here, right in here. So we're going to create a, so let me create a constant type of response, which will be equal to await. So we're going to use the fetch API and use template string here. Now what we're going to do is, what are we fetching? Alright, because we want to contact this Open Weather API. Open Weather API. So we want to contact it. So in their documentation, they provide the Open Weather URL to use, but I will just bring it from here now. Better still, let me just show you in their API documentation. It should be in guide, API doc. Where's the API documentation? This should be in guide and API doc. Alright, so this is it. So this is the URL. So in this case, they are searching for what they say. To make calls, you need to use the real API point that listed on the documentation page as test. For example, want to make a call, so they are searching for. They want to know the weather in London, UK, and they're also passing their API key here. So this is what we need first. So we want to fetch from these. Which should be equal to the parameter. Alright, in this case will be equal to London or whatever, but we don't want to use London, so we want to use whatever our user type in here. So supposing they type in Boston, so we want that. So since we're receiving it in this city name, so we're going to use the insert it using variable. So this will be dollar and open curly braces. Alright, so we need the city name and our app ID, which will be equal to this app ID, which will be equals to your API. So this will be equal to, I'm going to insert our API, which is this API. Yeah, exactly. So that is all we need to do. So let's do constant results should be equal to await this response. Well, actually, let's console log this response yes, and see what's happening. Console.log this response. So let me clear this and Mamo. Wow, so we're receiving a response. So we are actually progressing, right? So we're receiving a response now. Okay, sounds good, right? So but we need JSON. So in here we're going to create a constant results, which will be equal to await this response and dot JSON. We need JSON. So let's console. I think there's a reason why copy and paste is being invented. So let me cut this and paste this. This should be results. So now if I should reload and let me just type, I don't want to log much, Mamo here. So we have this object, which is what we want to work with. Good, so we're progressing. Alright, so what we're going to do is we want to return our results back so that we can display it on our website. So we're going to return this result, which is this object here. with all this data. Okay, so we're going to do return results. I can close this now. So return results. So since this was being called by this search here, so since we're using this fetch and this await and this async function, so as a result of that, we're going to receive a promises. All right, so in response with that, we're going to say what we're going to do now, which is promises. We're going to say dot then. Okay, so we're going to use arrow function now in callback function, which should be data equals to arrow function. So in our arrow function, the then should be closed. So in our arrow function, so let's console log that data, console log this data to see if we're actually receiving this particular input here, this response here, this object, to see. Save. So we'll type mamo. Perfect. So we're still receiving it. So which sounds very, very good. Alright, so now is to do the temperature conversion here. So comment temp conversion. So we're gonna do some little mathematics here to convert our temperature, which is they didn't provide it directly, so we're gonna want to convert it. All right, so to do that, in the temps now they are saying the temperature is 276.40. So we need to do some little mathematics over here. So this is not a math class, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste in the maths for the converting degree to Celsius and Fahrenheit and the rest of all that. So I just want to paste in the conversion here code, which is this. So what is happening here, we're having a degree centigrade with a constant type variable, which is a degree centigrade variable. So we're saying data.map.temp. So in here, in our result, let me clear this and call mamo again. So in our result, since we are receiving data, so we are saying data.main, which is this main here. We are accessing this main here. So we say data.main.temp. So this will log in this 276 for temperature, and I can show you here to see, just to explain a little bit deeper. Console.log and then say data.temp. So we're expecting this 276 in mamo. Perfect. So 276. You get it. So that is it. So we're going to use it to do some little mathematics here. And this is not a math class, so I just want to explain it. So we're going to do a degree centigrade, a variable of degree centigrade, which is data.main.temp. So we'll subtract it from 273.15. And also we're using this degree centigrade roundup. So we're using this maths.floor, then we're rounding up the whatever value we have in here. And same thing for the Fahrenheit, and we're also rounding it up. So for this, we're going to create a results object, which which equals to, we want to create an object, and also I'll paste in the code as well. So for the object, we are having the condition will be data.weather 0.main. So this is what is happening here. Data.weather, let's see, dot weather. This weather is an array. Is an array. Alright, so why not logging on? Alright, but we just accessed data.weather, which is an array, dot main as well. This should log. I don't know why it's not logging yet. I think let me reload and copy Mamo. I don't want to log in a lot. That's why I don't want to type. So let me console log in here. Console.log. So data console log this to see. Okay, which is missed. Good, good, good. So that is coming dynamic. So let's see data. We log in this data and see. Alright, so this, then we are assessing the weather. Okay, yes, perfect. So in this weather, it's not working out. So the weather is an array. So the first element of the array is what we are targeting here. The first element, dot main of the array. So we are assessing the main, which is missed. Okay, I believe that helped. So we can delete this now. So same thing in terms of the icon. For the icon, we are passing the URL to the icon, then plus data.weather, which will give us icon data.weather. So we're having icon here as well of 0. So that will also give us for icon. So this is how to generate the icon, and plus the icon. Alright, look at it, dot icon, because we're accessing the icon as well. 0, then dot icon, and plus the PNG, which is the extension. So for the degree centigrade, for the degree roundoff, we're using maths.float and rounding it up. Then in terms of the Fahrenheit also, we're still rounding it up. And for the city data.name, to get the city data.name, which is this Mamo. Alright, so we now have this in our result as an object. So with that, we're going to call, now I want to display to our UI, display result. So we're going to call UI now. So before we call UI, let's create our UI class. So we're going to say class UI, and also we're going to work with constructor as well that we invoked immediately an instance of the class is called. So with this dot display, which is equal to document dot get element by ID. Remember this display, this attribute display. So we are targeting that now. So we need the display. Alright, so as a result, let's init our UI. Init open weather. Init UI. So say const UI equal to new UI, which is a class. So now I have an instance. So this instance, whenever it's used anywhere in our application, this constructor will run immediately. So now we say UI dot show results. Show results. I hope that's the correct spelling. So we want to pass in these results. Alright, so now we can create a method here of show results, and this will be results, right? So let's console log our results to see if maybe we are actually receiving that this this object. Alright, so save and clear, reload, clear, and I don't want to log in much, so that's why I'm doing this. Mamo. Paste. Perfect. So we are receiving it now. Wow, this is perfect. So we can. So now it's nice. It's not time for us to display our output. So to do that, since it's just an object, if we want to display the name, which is the city name, so we say results dot name. That will display it. So we're basically saying results dot city, not name, dot city. So we are expecting the city name now. So reload, and let's just log Tokyo. We receive Tokyo. I believe you get it. I believe you guys are getting it. Alright, so let's go back to our UI. So now we're going to create output of let, which we're going to use template string here. So I'll just copy a bunch of the HTML. I don't want to repeat myself. Paste. Alright, so these are all, this section is from Materialize, and all these are the Materialize classes. And we are having a custom ID, attribute of ID of index banner. We'll see that in action very soon. We'll see why did I use that there? Let me see. I don't even know why I use it, but I'm gonna figure it out to see why I use it soon. Alright, so what is happening here in the H1, we are saying results.city, which we display the city name, and for results.condition, for condition, we show the data.weather, and for the image icon, then for the degree, so we're using this Unicode here. These are all basic HTML, which is a Unicode character for degree sign. And for this also is for the Fahrenheit sign as well. So beneath it, we're going to display it. So we're going to say this dot display, which we will call inner HTML, which will equal to output. So you can save. So I believe this worked. Let's try it out. Okay, we're having a problem here now. UI new. What happened here? Syntax error, unexpected end of input. So let me figure that out. Right, so for some reason we're having this here, which is not supposed to be here, and save, then clear. So when we search for, let's say Boston weather. So we are having this. Just like it happened like magic. We are up and running, and I can save all the file which is already saved as well. So now I can test my app. So Stockholm, search for Stockholm, Sweden. We have this. Search for London. Weather in London. So we have this. All right, guys, and this is the end of this tutorial. And thank you very much for taking your time, and remain blessed. And God bless you. Bye.